There were people in my classes who had read every word I ever wrote, attended every lecture they could reach, practiced sincerely for months. They understood the law as well as I did. And when I asked them to close their eyes and enter the state of the wish fulfilled, right there, in the room, most of them could not do it. Not because the law was failing them, because no one had ever given them the exact sequence for entering it, the precise steps in the precise order, and without the sequence, sincerity alone just spins in place. Tonight I am going to give you that sequence, not the theory, not another explanation of why it works, the exact steps I gave my private students, the ones that took 60 seconds when they were done right. By the end of this, you will have felt it yourself, and a thing that has been felt cannot be argued away. Stay with me, because the very first step is the one almost everyone gets wrong. The first thing I had to correct in nearly every student was where they were aiming. And you have felt this already, even if you never had a name for it. You have sat down, closed your eyes, tried to summon the feeling of the thing you want, and felt nothing move. Just you, in the dark, straining, while the feeling stayed exactly as far away as it had ever been. You walked away certain the failure was yours. It was not. You were simply aiming at the wrong thing. They were aiming at the feeling, trying to produce it directly, by effort, by concentration, the way you try to recall a name that has slipped your mind. And you know what happens when you reach for that name. The reaching pushes it further away. The feeling cannot be aimed at. That is not a flaw in you. It is the nature of the feeling itself. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a thing you produce directly. It is a thing that arrives, on its own, the moment a particular assumption has been genuinely occupied. You do not generate it, any more than you generate the warmth of a fire by concentrating on warmth. You build the fire. The warmth comes by itself. The feeling was never the work. It was always the proof the work was done. So the sequence does not begin with the feeling. It begins with something far smaller and far more precise. And when I told my students what it was, most of them were almost offended by how simple it sounded. I asked them to choose one detail, not the whole scene, not the fulfilled life entire, the house and the relationship, and the morning that looks exactly the way they always wanted it to look. One detail, a single specific sensory moment that could only exist in the world where the wish was already true. And I know exactly what you are thinking, because every student thought it too. One detail is not enough. The desire is large, the gap is large. Surely the imaginal act has to match the size of the thing you want. It does not. And this is the part I most want you to understand. The deeper mind does not measure scale. It gives no extra credit for how grand or elaborate your scene is. It receives impressions, and the depth of an impression is decided entirely by how completely you are inside it, not by how big it is. A small detail entered completely reaches deeper than an entire imagined life held at arm's length. The texture of a handshake, the weight of a key in your palm, the particular sound of the door closing behind you in a room that is finally yours. Choose the one detail that for you implies all the rest, the single thing that could not be true unless the whole wish were already true. That detail is your doorway. Find it, hold it, but do not look at it from the outside, the way you would look at a photograph. Step inside it, feel it from within. 5 seconds. That is the first step. And when it is done right, something surprising happens. The moment a student found the right detail and stepped inside it, they went quiet. Not on purpose, automatically, something in the body settled. That low, continuous pressure of wanting, the hum of not yet that they had walked into the room carrying, it softened, and they had not tried to soften it, it simply went. And in the space where it had been, something else arrived on its own. Their inner voice changed. Not because they instructed it to, because the state they were now standing inside had its own inner conversation, and it was not the one they came in with. The man inside the detail of his hand, signing the document, is not telling himself he hopes this will work. He is not thinking about the practice at all. He is simply there. And the inner voice of that moment is the voice of a man for whom the thing is already, quietly, done. This is what I called inner speech, and I placed more weight on it than on almost anything else I ever taught. Because here is the truth about you, and you already know it is true the moment I say it. Everything you actually believe shows itself in your inner conversation, not in your prayers, not in your formal practice, the few minutes you sit down and try. It shows in the automatic murmur that runs underneath everything all day long. In the unguarded moments when you are not performing for anyone, not even for yourself. That quiet running sentence, the one you would never say out loud, the one you barely notice you are saying, that is the real assumption your life is being built from. And most people have never once stopped to listen to it. Your inner speech is not something you practice, it is something you listen to. And the moment you step inside the right detail, it shifts on its own. That shift is the confirmation. That is how you know you are inside the state and not just looking at it from across the room. But there is one thing that kills that shift before it can take root. I watched it happen to my students again and again until I learned to name it. And the moment I named it precisely, they stopped doing it. The moment the inner voice shifts, the moment the state is genuinely entered, the conscious mind notices, and the conscious mind, trained by years of evidence to believe the wish is not yet fulfilled, does something immediate and automatic. It questions. Not loudly, quietly, a murmur underneath the murmur. Is this real? Is it working? How long am I supposed to hold this? And the instant that question is entertained, even for a fraction of a second, the state collapses. Not because the law failed you, because the question is itself an assumption. It is the assumption that the wish is not yet yours, slipping in through the back door, in the one moment you had finally stopped assuming it. The question is the exit. So do not answer it. Do not argue with it. Do not even push it away, because pushing is effort, and effort is the very thing you just left behind. You simply return to the detail, the texture of the handshake, the weight of the key, the sound of the door. Return without drama, without scolding yourself. The return is not the failure. The return is the practice. Every time you come back to the detail from inside the state instead of outside it, the impression goes deeper. You are not starting over, you are continuing. I never asked my students for perfection. I asked for sincerity. And sincerity, given once, completely, is enough. Here is the whole of it. Close your eyes. Find the one detail. Step inside it. Not outside looking at it, inside looking out from it. 5 seconds. Then listen to what the inner voice says on its own. Is it still waiting, or has it shifted? If it has shifted, stay. Let it deepen. Do not force it. The question will come. Do not answer it. Return to the detail. Once more, from the inside. That is 60 seconds. One clear impression, delivered from inside the state, without the interference of the questioning mind. That is a complete instruction. Everything that comes afterward in the visible world is the bridge forming quietly from that single moment of genuine occupation. Persistence is not repeating the act 100 times. It is staying faithful to what you assumed, in the hours and days that follow, refusing to take it back. So do this tonight, not to practice it, to know, from your own experience, and not from anything I have told you, what the phrase, "feeling is the secret," was always pointing at. Because once you have actually felt it, even once, you cannot unfeel it. And from that moment, you are no longer trying to believe the law is true. You will know it is, because you will have stood for 60 seconds inside a life that had not arrived yet, and felt it answer.